Hey there everyone, my name is Lumi and I am kind of good at building things. This week I made Mecha-Godzilla in Minecraft. In this video I'll be showing you a time-lapse of him being built, and while the time-lapse is playing I will be explaining how I made this thing. I make robotics slightly different than I would for the organics, so if you are a structure builder and have never made an organic before, a robot might be an interesting place to start. I'll be talking about my step-by-step process when it comes to designing robotic organics, so you can take those tips and apply them yourself. In short, this video will not be a block-by-block tutorial, because god no. Instead, there will be broader tips you can apply to any robot. That said, let's get into the time-lapse. Before I show you how I made this, let me show you how I not made this, I guess. Normally I cut out small trials and assets that I do not end up using in the final build, but in this case I thought it showed why you cannot tackle a robot as a standard organic. I initially tried to create a wireframe, bulking out the limbs and torso, and thought to add on the detail later as I would with any other organic. However, it turns out that it is very difficult to create very square and otherwise geometric detailing on an already curved plane. I tried messing around with the line command a bit to see if I could force the geometry, but this did not work out well. I attempted this method twice before I eventually turned on my brain and tried a different method. Step 1 is the design. What I ended up doing was designing each segment of the body on the grid of Minecraft without worrying about the rotation whatsoever. We will rotate the segments later when posing the model. Right now, step 1 is purely the design. If you are a structure builder or have a natural affinity for geometric shapes, this is where you have an advantage over most organics builders when it comes to making robots specifically. All these individual segments, the upper leg, the lower leg, the foot, the torso, the tail sections, they each rely on very geometric shapes to sell the idea of this being a robot. My small brain is hardwired for smooth, curved and, well, rounded shapes, so this threw me for a bit of a loop. All the detailing is made in bright wool colors, so I can more easily tell apart every single section. Godzilla still starts with a thick base at the bottom of his spine and then tapers into a small point slowly. I decided to make a bunch of rings that increasingly become smaller as the tail curves around the body. To do this, I used the scale command, which allows you to resize what you have built. I found that the command is more successful generally when you are turning large objects into small objects. So I started by making the biggest tail segment first, and then making it slightly smaller 4 separate times until I had 5 sizes of the tail segment to work with. After step 1, the designing of the different assets has been completed, we can move on to step 2. Now, step 2 is the posing of the organic. For any organic that does not rely on geometric shape so much, I will do the posing immediately. This is what you saw me try to do at the very beginning of the time-lapse. However, since we could not do that here, we rotate each of the pieces how we like and put the robot together bit by bit, sort of like a bionicle. I make liberal use of the rotate command, rotating every piece along all 3 axes. Since rotate also makes the pieces look like they have been through a meat grinder, you need to smooth them out afterwards to patch any weird gaps in the armor plates. As with most forms of smoothing, you get the best results smoothing by hand. It does require a bit of tenacity, but you will be happy that you did so in the end. Once all the pieces have been rotated, put in place and smoothed out, we can move to the third and final step, the coloring. This also happens to be my favorite step. Having color coded all the individual armor segments earlier, it is very easy to get a brush and replace every single section with the desired block. For this robot, I went with a black and white palette, with some subtle blue highlights all over the suit. The most recent film adaptation of Mecha-Godzilla is very dark grey, but the problem with relying on dark blocks overwhelmingly is that shapes blend together from a distance, meaning that a lot of the detailing would be lost. Thus, I decided to go for a lighter palette with dark colours in the recesses only, inspired by the robots from Portal 2. And there you have it. I hope you can use my building explanation for if you want to make a robotic organic yourself. The individual steps are not too complicated, but you don't exactly need a PhD to play Minecraft anyways. This build was actually commissioned by Complex Gaming, a Feed the Beast server. They've been working on a custom mod pack where you find fossils, revive dinosaurs, and then use those dinosaurs to battle, much like Pixelmon. If you want to see my sculpture on an actual server, and if that concept sounds interesting to you, their IP is down in the description. If you enjoyed the build, be sure to leave a like. If you want to see what I build next, subscribe and stick around. For now, I wish you a pleasant rest of your day, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye!